Welcome, everyone, to the Don Lemon Show. You know what that music is that you guys call my boomer music. It is, but at least you know it's time for us. So thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it. It is a disaster, an economic disaster, not a scheduling disaster. Again, with Kara Swisher, she is here, but stand by. I'll introduce her in a second. So let me know where you're streaming from. We appreciate you joining us this evening. Also, make sure you hit the like and thumbs up. It really does affect the algorithm, and more people become aware of our conversation, and they'll join us. So thank you so much for your support, and thank you for joining. Okay, so my friend Kara Swisher is here with me. She is a legendary, let's bring her in from the top. Let's bring her in. She's a legendary tech journalist, the host of On with Kara Swisher podcast, the co-host of the Pivot podcast, and the author of a New York Times bestseller book, Burn Book. I should know because I held the thing for you. Burn Book. Kara, thank you.
Burn, yes, book burn, which is what the right Republicans do. Not
I want to match your energy here.
Thank you. You know, the thing is, I just got this new studio, which I'm breaking in right now, and I can see if I wear a hat, it has shade. Now I'm obsessed with shade. And if I lean forward, it gets really dark. So
your lighting looks good, though.
Yeah, it does. Once I get it all set up, I literally just installed yesterday. So
yeah, and
I got to get books behind me, see the empty shelves. I got to go. I thought
it was stairs. It could be stairs. You can't.
No, it's going to be full of my awards, my journalism and awards and things like that.
We love having you. Before we start with this disaster of a day, I mean, it's been a disaster of a day since, I guess 60, however many days it's been. We wanted you on for our anniversary 1 year because you've been so supportive of the show. You actually helped me. A large part of this is because of you.
You didn't listen to any of my advice, but okay, go ahead.
Well, you meant not to go with Musk. That was the advice you gave me. I listened to the rest of your advice.
Yeah, that's true.
And now, so you're saying I told you so?
No, I don't have to. Okay. It's understood. It's like the silent whatever. Silent.
I love you. We're going to talk about him in a moment, but let me just give some stats. And so stand by because I think it's really important. So the stock market today plummeted and the S&P 500 back into correction territory for its biggest one-day loss since March of 2020. Yes. And we all remember what happened. Then the Dow Jones Industrial Average, listen to this, tumbled 1679.3, which is about 1,700 points, down about 4%, close to 40,545. To mark its worst session since June of 2020. And we know when that was the heart, the hottest part of COVID.
Yeah.
So here we are with these tariffs. Now, I want you to hear this just so, Kara, to respond, because this is on Fox Business News. And I think it's really important because they talk about $2.5 trillion being vaporized. We'll play a little bit of it and then let you respond. Here it is.
Cool.
Markets bearing the brunt of the global market sell-off. Look at this, folks. Investors and traders are enduring a $2.5 trillion vaporized just this session alone. Workers, retirees, pensioners, no doubt, unhappy as they peek at their 401ks, retirement funds, their kids' 529 college savings funds. But the collateral damage to individual sectors and stocks here in the U.S. way more profound and widespread. Let's start with U.S. tech. It is getting slashed right now. We've got on the screen Amazon, Nvidia, Meta. Nvidia now at $103 and change. We've got Amazon at $179, down 8%. Meta down 7.5%. But let's show you Apple because it is absolutely cratering due to its extreme exposure to China, where a big chunk, 90%, according to Citigroup, of its phone manufacturers, that's where that's happening. China, and shares right now down 9.5% today alone. The stock has seen more than $300 billion sliced off the market cap. Energy is actually the worst.
So, Kara Swisher, when you look at those numbers, you cover this all the time, you and Scott. What the fuck is going on?
Well, it's multifaceted. A lot of these tech companies are global companies. They're not American companies. They're global, and they make things abroad. That's how we get them here, because we don't have that manufacturing in this country. It's been that way forever. Since the iPhone came out, it was always made there. They make certain parts of the iPhone here, like the Gorilla Glass and different things. But they're very exposed not just to China as a vendor, but China as a market. They sell a lot. And so does Tesla. So do a lot of companies. Second thing is, a lot of our American tech companies make services like cloud and things like that. And services, we don't have a budget deficit. We have a budget surplus in services. So now Europe and same thing in consulting and things like that. These are services, and so that's going to get killed by Europe. They're going to tariff everything, and so the whole idea of this tariff, it's not even, I don't know what it is. It is a tariff, but the way he's creating them, reciprocal tariff, which is not what it is. There's no this is not what he's saying it is. He's just, the way he figured it was not the way most economists do, or all economists don't do it. And so you're going to see enormous hits from companies that are global, and most of those are tech, and most of tech carries the stock market. Like Nvidia was the reason for the run up. Mm-hmm. As tech goes, so goes the country, essentially.
Yeah, and oh man, we're in a world of hurt. I just want to play. I don't want to just bombard you with sound bites, sure, but I think this one is important.
Oh, that was Fox Business. On Fox News, they're writing about their headlines are all MS-13, whatever the hell the fuck is going on. I mean, they're not explaining. I called my mom and I was like, "Wow, this crash." She goes, "What crash?" Because she watches Fox News. It's insane that they're pretending this isn't happening.
I watched the other day during the Signal Gate, and it was their 3 or 4 o'clock show with Martha McCallum, mm-hmm. and they didn't cover the Signal thing.
Of course
they led with the transgender student thing.
Yes,
and then
that's our greatest problem in our country right now.
They got to Scott Bessent in the second block. They asked him a question about it, and he goes, I'll leave that to better minds. And he wouldn't even really mm-hmm. talk about it. But that's the reason I want to play this one for you, because they're – I'm wondering if it's going to penetrate, possibly. Listen to this one. I think this will surprise you. Here it is.
Well, BMW is going to rethink South Carolina because it's not going to import tariffed parts, engines from Germany, then to send those vehicles to export them. So again, it will mean, if that plant stays open, it will mean fewer jobs potentially, because they're going to make those vehicles somewhere else.
Well, where are they going to sell them now?
Oh, make them in
They sell them to China. They sell them to China, and they sell them to Europe.
So every American customer who could buy a BMW could be replaced overnight by a Chinese customer.
They sell them they export them to China.
No, but I'm saying you can't make
they import the parts, which will be tariffed, and then they will export them from the United States, where they're manufactured, back to Europe, where they will be tariffed again, and then to China and nations around the globe, right? So these are the problems that a U.S. manufacturer faces, because the parts are coming from somewhere else.
They can also just make the parts here. They can make the car
No, they can't. No, they can't. Absolutely not. That's a fallacy.
It's impossible?
Yeah, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. How about it?
It wouldn't take that long. Anyway, as far as the payments are concerned.
To build German engines in the United States. Okay.
That guy's an idiot. He's just a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. I don't know who he is, but he's as dumb as a box of hammers.
Charles Payne.
Whatever. He doesn't know what he's talking about, and which is always enjoyable to watch pundits. You cannot make a factory immediately. We don't have the skills, the job skills. We don't have the investment. And by the way, why would you invest in a factory if you don't know what tariff he's going to put on any this stop and go stuff, this use of tariffs as a threat? This isn't a cogent economic policy. You wouldn't build a thing in this country until he stopped talking, like, essentially. And so if you're making these investments, this is investments over decades, right? These manufacturing plants. It's too expensive to do it here. It is it's going to tank the economy, and especially in those places where we've gotten foreign car manufacturers to create sites. They're going to pull them out of here. They'll go to Vietnam and they'll do it there.
We went through something. I'm sorry. Finish your thought.
Yeah, we just can't do this here. It's just not. It's like these people are making it up. Oh, we'll just do it in a year. That doesn't happen. Where do you get the energy? And also, like, a lot of the AI companies are using up all the factories and energy. That we are doing here, which is really interesting and a great way to lean into the future. But this is just nonsense. These people are just stupid. I don't know what else to say.
Well, look, I'm old enough. I don't know if you are old enough to remember. We went through something similar in the 70s. I don't know if you remember in the 80s when they were like, don't buy, foreign cars, right? And then we went through them. We realized I thought it was really good for competition among cars. You started to get, better cars. America started to make better cars because they had to compete with the foreign guys. Mm-hmm. So as you were talking, Kara, to your folks at, in the tech industry, because that's the biggest sector, right?
Yes, that's what keeps the stock market. Even NVIDIA was the reason for so much of the run up in the stock market, because
how do they feel about what this guy's doing?
Well, they can't be happy. I'm sure they're sort of regretting it, but it was, this idea that, he was using the thing of the patient got out of surgery and he's still breathing. You have to do this in order to create. people are not going to locate manufacturing in this country with this much uncertainty. Just markets love certainty is what they like. They have an idea of where things are going. Now, if you were smart, like just the same thing with DOGE, if you want to talk about government efficiency, then let's have a real talk about that. Let's use it in some way, but just cutting with a chainsaw, this is the same thing. This is the version of chainsaw that Musk was putting through. You don't change things by chainsaw and shock therapy and shock the patient. And that's what the kind of things these people are saying. Like, yeah, Whirlpool just laid off people. He is pushing us into a recession, if not a depression. And I'm calling it Trump session. They want to talk about Bidenomics. This is Trump session. And we'll see how far it goes. But what he's doing these products cannot be made in this country for a very, very long time, and maybe shouldn't be but NVIDIA is getting hammered. I mean, as this person is just saying, it's getting hammered. And that's one of the reasons the stock market's going down, because they've been part of the big run up, that particular company. And
I love that you're reading the comments, because that's been a part of our success. Because
I mean, it's true.
In real time.
But it makes sense, because services are such a strength of our country from an export point of view. And we export tech services all over the world. We're the dominant exporter. The only other one is, guess who? China. And guess who's going to walk into the breach here? China. And they will, and they have the ability. And the same thing with cars, like the BYD cars that they have that are fantastic, so innovative. Like Tesla hasn't innovated anything for years.
I would love to have one of those cars.
I know, wouldn't you? The
dolphin, get them here, right?
The dolphin's so cute. It's really, and they're beautiful. We're not going to have them here, and maybe they are manufacturing in a way we can't do here. But they are innovative cars, and that's the thing, is they're attractive and innovative. And not just them. A lot of electric cars are up, just not Tesla is the only one that's not up, because he's a loathsome character and they don't want to buy it. I mean, he kicked his own customers in the nuts. That's what he did.
Yeah. Well, hold that thought, because I want to talk about Tesla, but let me just get this out of the way, because I had Anthony Scaramucci on yesterday, and he said what our allies and some of our adversaries are going to do. They're going to form their own trade alliance around the United States. China has vowed to take countermeasures to, quote, safeguard its own rights and interests. Its state media described the tariffs as self-defeating bullying. In Brussels, the European Commissioner President said that the bloc would be united in its response to tariffs. If you take one of us, you take all of us.
Correct.
That's what he said.
And it gives China the advantage. I mean, the U.S. was ahead, and we were like killing China in terms of economic strength over the last few years. I mean, the U.S. was a juggernaut, has been a juggernaut. Now China's going to come into the breach, and this is an opportunity for China to recover the dominance. They will walk into everyone. And by the way, guess who has the factories that can make these things? China. So, and we don't. And so we're going to have higher prices on every single thing we buy. Like there's not even one. Now, I don't know if the yen become the world currency. Well, the dollar got hit today too. I mean, the dollar was the de facto global currency. No longer. And that's what he's misjudged this in such an astonishing way, because he doesn't know what he's talking about. That's why.
So if you're just joining us, we are with the great Kara Swisher today. Remember, she's supposed to be on, and we had the scheduling snafu, but now she is. It was all my fault. I'll just take
it. Was indeed. I told him it's not on my Google Calendar. It doesn't exist. Like I have my children. I put it in the Google Calendar if you want to see me. No, I'm kidding. I see.
So Kara, I've got to promote now, as you know, and soon we will start reading ads and stuff. Yeah. So, we're doing very well, by the way, over here.
Good. How's it going? Good.
Did you see our big New York Times story that we had?
I did. Yeah. I read a story every day about someone that creates a podcast and then maybe a website and then maybe an event, which I did decades ago.
Yes. I know. Said I'm so late to the party, and you told me get on.
You're just on time. You're just on time. And it depends on the person. You're very entrepreneurial, so that's good.
I'm having a good time doing this.
Are you?
I really am. I'm enjoying doing this. I'm enjoying building a community. We have a very, very, very supportive and loyal community, and they join us every day. They're talking in the chats before the show starts.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did you miss the town cars and all the fondling of cankers? You know what I mean? Like the anchors get treated like this.
No, but I was never like that.
Right.
I grew up a poor black boy from the South. I was never, this is all great. And I knew this is great, but all good things must come to an end sooner or later. Well, and so I've always worked I've always worked my ass off. You'll never outwork me. But let me just sell here. Kara Swisher's here, so make sure you hit the like, the thumbs up. Our membership link is at the top of the chat. Make sure you subscribe. It's at the bottom of the screen, right below the Don Lemon logo. So thank you for your support. We get to continue streaming because you support us, and we really enjoy your presence. We read your comments. We have a members only show right after Kara, so stay tuned for that. So Kara, just quickly to the folks who are watching us before we move on to Tesla. The folks who are watching us, what's your advice to them? Because they're saying, oh, it's going to be a little bit of time and you get a little bit of hurt and a little bit of pain. But if you're paycheck to paycheck, you don't have, the ability to be able to do that.
Well, the only person doing well here is Warren Buffett, who went into cash, right? A month ago, I have a lot in cash, actually. I whatever Warren Buffett does, I tend to do.
I had a friend in New Orleans who's a finance person, and he said, I have almost everything in cash now. He says, I'm holding cash. And I'm like, wow.
So that's an opportunity to buy. I mean, like these companies, the fundamentals are still good, but you cannot, the expression is catch a falling knife. Don't catch a falling knife. You may catch it correctly. You may invest at the right time, but unless you have done this in anticipation of what this guy was doing, you'd be caught. One of the things, if you need the money now, I think you're screwed. If you don't, just close your eyes and just don't do anything, because selling is where you lose. Selling is, you can't lose it unless you sell it. So you have to sort of pick out the fundamentals of the companies that are fundamental. And you should do nothing. I hate to say that. You should have done something weeks ago, but you can't do anything right now because you'll lose. And unless you want to lose or you want a loss or whatever. But I think that if you don't need the money and you're not living paycheck, most people living paycheck to paycheck aren't in the stock market, right? So, I would just, if you're in the stock market or your 401k, just don't do anything, do nothing. Yeah. But it's going to be really painful to climb back.
What is your paycheck to paycheck? I mean,
well, you're going to pay more. You're going to pay more. A lot of your income is going to go to. And then rents will go up. I just finished building this podcast studio. I think I'm glad we did the building then. My contractors are like, all the prices of wood and everything that comes from Canada, all the prices of everything are going to go up. It's astronomically. So anything that you want to, you're not going to be able to buy cars. The one stock that went up was Goodyear, because you're going to replace your tires now because you're not going to buy a car, because cars are going to be so much more expensive. So maybe if you're in the stock market, think of things that, tires, you're going to have to replace tires or something like that.
Well, listen, they're in denial, the Trump administration. This is what Caroline Levitt put out today. I think it was a tweet. She said, there will be no pain, or this is something, I guess she said that at the briefing. There's not going to be any pain, Caroline Levitt, as markets plummet in response to Trump's tariff policy. I think they're in denial about that. And they're also in denial about public sentiment, I believe, around what they're doing with DOGE and getting rid of these services like USAID.
Right.
Politico.
This is Karen Levitt, who's 27, who probably just lived with her parents before this, just went to college. So she knows all about people's working for a living. The Tracy Flick of the Trump administration. Honestly, literally, when people are losing money, you really shouldn't tell them falsehoods in that regard. They're losing money and everyone can see it.
Yeah. But every day she goes out there with falsehoods and she doesn't.
I understand, but this is not, pretending, don't believe your lying eyes is kind of ridiculous at this moment. Everyone can see the stock market declines, and it has. People always say Main Street isn't Wall Street, but it kind of is. Like Wall Street always knows like which way it goes, right? It is telling a story of how people feel about the economy. You're going to see consumer sentiment numbers, which are already declining, go down even further. When the prices are up, people are going to be affected. And then people won't expand. Businesses won't expand and create new businesses because it's so uncertain.
I want to put this up from Politico, and it is about Elon Musk. And it says, Trump tells inner circle that Musk will leave soon. They are denying it, but I do think that this is what I think. This is just my opinion, that the president and the administration are well aware of what DOGE is doing to the president's approval rating and also to the public sentiment around the country. Maybe they're aware of it in some ways, even though they deny it. Do you believe it? And does he needs to get back to Tesla? Do we have the Tesla numbers somewhere? I know it was they had their worst sales quarter. Tesla reports 13% drop in first quarter vehicle deliveries from a year ago. And then, of course, the market value is plummeting.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Well, they know exactly what's, so there's so much spin happening here. I knew we were going to lose. I just did it so I could win. Like that quote he had. He may have known they were going to lose. I don't know. I didn't see his internal polling, but in Wisconsin, I'm talking about, with the money he spent. But he's poisonous. He's a poisonous, and people, his negatives are so high. It's crazy, and people don't like him. The more they see of Elon Musk, the less they like him. And, in principle, oh, rocket guy, oh, Tesla guy, this and that. But look, Tesla's declining rather precipitously. And it's not just because people don't like him, right? That's part of it in these protests. That's definitely part of it here. But the fact of the matter is this has been a trend with this company for a while because they haven't introduced new cars. One of the things about cars and competitors are introducing all kinds of great electric cars. All around the world, include not just the Chinese, but all kinds of companies, are Ford and GM and Jaguar and all these other things. And so people have a choice of cars now, and all those sales are up. People kind of like these hybrids and these other things. They haven't introduced a new car. They were going to do a cheaper car. They didn't do that. They were going to do this Roadster upgrade. They were going to do this upgrade.
Remember, he talked to me about the Roadster during my interview a year ago.
Yes, of course. We're going to have, and then robo-taxis. Like, he goes on and on about those. Well, I've been riding in Waymo robo-taxis in San Francisco for 3 years. Yeah. They don't have anything on the road. I wouldn't get in one. There's not enough points of safety on their particular cars. But they haven't innovated. The second thing is that their customer base was a customer base interested in climate change, right? Interested, more liberal leaning. It's very clear. He kicked them in the teeth with his behavior and his antics and his Nazi salutes. So he's antagonized his actual customer base who likes the car. And then he's thinking all these right-wing red states they don't want these cars. They don't want to buy them even if they like them. And they don't want to buy them because there's not cars for them. And the Cybertruck certainly is not. They were supposed to sell 1 million. They sold, 40,000, not very many, right? And they're falling apart. They're just everything. You can blame it all on these protests if he wants to, which he does. But the fact of the matter is it's become a shitty car company right now. So they'll probably try to say it's an AI company very soon, at some point soon. He does that now.
Do you think part of it is that he's realizing he needs to get back to the business, or do you think Trump is kind of kicking him out?
Oh, I think they've been annoyed with him for a while. I know inside the company when he first started, and I was somewhat critical of him and saying he's a little crazy, guys. You're gonna watch. You're not gonna be able to control him. He's gonna do what he wants. He's manic, et cetera, et cetera. I got a lot of criticism from Trump people. They were like, "Oh, Kara, you just don't like him." I'm like, "Oh, you'll see." And then weeks later, oh my God, he's manic. He's the same thing, right? And I'm like, yeah, he'll do what he wants. He doesn't care what you think. And the issue is he's got a real relationship with Trump. It seems like they seem to have a very close personal relationship. And therefore, these are not profiles encourage anyone who works for any administration. And so they're not going to say anything. But the minute, you'll start to see the drip, 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 and you sort of are starting to see it. But he'll go when he's good and ready. I mean, this guy he'll continue to invest in right-wing candidates. He'll continue to try what he did in Wisconsin. This is a guy who blows up rockets for a living. 6 of the 8 starships, 6 of the 8 blew up. Just so you know, like there's 8 flights, 6 of them blew up, 2 worked. So he doesn't mind blowing rockets up, and he will continue to do so.
Would you go in space? Because there's a lady space thing. You wouldn't do it. Too risky, right?
That's not really space. They just go up.
It's not even space, right?
They just go up. It is technically. It is. They move up. They float around. They come back. It is space. Let me just say, but it's not space like that we think of.
It's
space.
Not outer space.
Yeah, I would never do it. Not even in the best of rockets. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, same.
Would you?
No, I remember Columbia and I'm like, the space
I know.
shuttle.
It's not just that. I just don't have any interest. I like it here. Why, I wouldn't go deep ocean in a bathysphere. I wouldn't do that. Like,
no way.
I like people who do it, and I like the pictures they bring back. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, good on them. Okay, here's Tim Walz responding to Musk's attacks and Wisconsin special. Here it is.
referendum on Elon Musk, and by extension by Donald Trump. A 10-point win in Wisconsin is an absolute massacre. Remember, this was a 1-point race in November. So I am angry with this guy. I'm glad he's irritated with me. He's a bully. He's picking on people that can't speak up. He's undermining the basic tenets of this country, all so that he can, an unelected, oligarch, run things. It's outrageous. And look, if Donald Trump wants to continue to hang around with him, I certainly think the DNC should think about hiring Elon Musk and send him to every race that we're in, because we will win. We will win.
Well,
they're right.
Yeah. What do you think of that? Is he
he's
right?
repellent. Elon Musk is repellent to voters, independents and Democrats, and even Republicans. They don't like him. They don't like the cut of his jib, right? They don't like a guy coming in with $1 million checks. They don't like the cheese head. I know a lot of people in Wisconsin, they hated the cheese head. They didn't want him to wear it. What is he doing? What is he making fun of us? Is he doing it? It looks weird. It's awkward. I think what is this guy doing in Wisconsin? Like, he doesn't live here. He's not from here. Why is he jumping on a stage with a cheese head in our state? Mm-hmm. It makes sense from a national level. He certainly can participate. He's certainly a citizen. But when you go to states of which you have no affiliation, and then except that you want something out of the Supreme Court for your car dealerships, which everybody clearly knows, there's a case that's going to come before the Supreme Court. People just don't like it. They just like, who is, and he's not standing next to Donald Trump, who is liked, let's be clear, by those Republicans. I mean, that's a problem for all Republicans. If they're not standing next to Donald Trump, they aren't so pretty, to their constituency.
Yeah, they aren't Teflon if they're not standing next to him.
Just him. Just him. Yeah. They like him.
Speaking of, we talked about rockets, right? And Bezos, people going up, because Bezos is the one they're going up with. Eugene Robinson is quitting the Washington Post.
I know.
And he's saying because Pulitzer Prize winning, this is from the Daily Beast, winning columnist Eugene Robinson has quit the Washington Post over billionaire owner Jeff Bezos' reimagining. Where have I heard that word before? Remember?
Reimagine. Yes, I do, Don. Yeah.
I've heard that word before, and it's like, oh God, they're in trouble.
Wholesale strafing of the opinion page by someone who's incompetent at media. Yeah, that's what they're doing. Reimagining it.
What do you think? Because you wanted to put together a group to buy.
I have. I can do it anytime. If he comes, like, I'm waiting, Jeff. I got the phone. You know my phone number. So yeah.
Are we going to see, is there going to be, I guess there is a brain drain going on because the cartoonist already left and there were others.
Yeah, and Tillman.
Yeah, and now you have Eugene Robinson, who is beloved and I think a very, very brilliant op-ed writer.
He's been there forever. He's wonderful. Let me say, all I do is have lunch and dinner with Washington Post people, current and former. And let me just tell you, Jeff, all your current employees are having lunch with me too. Like, because they aren't talking to you because you're not listening to them. And the way he's treating the staff is really quite astonishing. He treats them like they're warehouse employees at Amazon, which is not great either.
Yeah. That word reimagining, Eugene Daniel used it in his response to why they uninvited Amber Ruffin to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. What do you think of that move?
I thought it was cloddish. I don't know how much pressure he was under, so I'm going to give him I like Eugene, and I think I suspect he was under enormous amounts of pressure. But the fact of the matter is, when he invited her, he said he had her there because she was so spicy, right? I read the direct quote, and then the quote when she was leaving was, "We don't want someone spicy here." So pick a lane. Like, at some point, what happened is, they're getting the shit beat out of them by the White House. And they're acting like if only they acquiesce, they're not going to beat the shit out of them, and they're going to. So just don't acquiesce. Just like, no, just all of you get together and leave. Now that's the problem is they are all sort of, and let the state media organizations like Newsmax and the others go in there. If that's just let them do it. I know a lot of people said don't leave. It doesn't matter. You're not going to get a thing out of these people.
I think they should stick together and all, when that Caroline Leavitt says, and then she goes on to something else. The next person, I said this the last time of the Trump administration, the next person should ask the same question or say, I defer my time or whatever to until she stops doing it.
That requires media to get along.
That's what I was saying. I think they should all get together. I had April Ryan. I was on a panel with her this morning here in New York, and April Ryan said they're not going to do that because many of the folks who are there are sort of youngsters and they're just
Yeah,
They
they're
don't really have
ambitious.
that.
They're taking advantage of that. And I think, I was arguing with someone. I had a show about press freedom today and the idea is just don't show up. And some people are like, well, if you don't show up, you're not there at least to object.
You
But
don't get
to
anything
me,
out of the press briefing.
I
Come
don't
on.
think you do. That's why I left Washington, because I was sort of offered the White House beat, or that was the trajectory I was on, and I was like, no, thank you. It's so ridiculous. You're such a captive of the system, even no matter if it's Democratic or Republican. But in this case, they literally are running the show. So let them have it. Just at some point, just you give up the land and you wait until it passes, presumably.
What happens with the dinner this year then without a comedian? Snoozeville, or maybe Trump?
I don't go to the dinner. Do you go to the dinner?
I used to go. I don't go anymore. And it was look, I thought it was funny, and we were required by the network sometimes.
were
If
you?
you get invited, you were expected to go, and if you didn't, then you whatever. And then it's just kind of like smooch, 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 hi, hi, hi. You get dressed up. The whole thing.
I covered
so
it for the
not
Washington
you.
Post. I went once as a guest when I was doing stuff for NBC, and I hated it. I don't like any of those dinners.
I never saw you there.
One time. When they gave me $30 million and NBC asked me to go, I went. So yes, that was one time.
I don't know if you were there, but we had a dinner at what is it? Bourbon. Remember?
That's UTA. That's our agents.
Yeah, that's our agents.
That's
but
fine.
You didn't
I
go
don't
to the
mind.
dinner.
No, I didn't.
Are you going to the UTA party this time?
Probably I'll see you there. I don't know. The other thing is I am uncomfortable about the whole thing, because I think, I'm like, should we be jocular and pretending when things are this serious? That's one. Yeah. Two, if I run into some people, I feel like there's going to be a beef, and then it'll be Kara. You know what I mean? Like you could have my back, the two of us, and like Megyn Kelly recently insulted me, as she does to you quite often, by the way. Yeah. So you're used to it.
But I insulted her right back now. I'm sick of it.
I know, but I don't even speak to her because I think she's flirting with me. That's what I think is happening here. But that's what my wife said. Stop flirting with my wife. Because the things she said were like, she takes the balls of tech people. She goes for the jugular. I'm like, oh, tell me more. It's very attractive.
Apparently you didn't see my criticism of her where I told her about her own house and tell her husband to stop looking across the room.
Oh, nice. Oh, well, ooh, that's a double gay. But my wife said, stop flirting with my wife. But I don't want to run into her.
Maybe we're on to something, Kara. I don't know.
Teasing. I have no interest. Let me just say.
No, I'm not. Neither do I.
Neither do you. I just don't want to run into those people. Like, I don't want to pretend. I don't want to do the pretend. Hello, how you doing? I feel like I would throw a drink. I can't control myself.
I said that. You know what I did? I was head on. Look, I had to go to
I did invite you to a party where somebody you didn't like was there, my book party. Do you remember?
Oh yeah. Oh, that was fun. But I can't pretend anymore. No. And so I had to head on. Well, first of all, on that one, I just looked at him like, are you crazy? I'm not going to shake your fucking hand. Get out.
Yeah. I like
and they left. That person left pretty soon after that.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I don't know if you were okay with me doing that or not.
You could do whatever you want. I don't care if you want to get into beef.
So I was invited to a dinner where someone at my old job who in the back was like, oh, we need to get together and have a drink or have a coffee. And I was like, are you kidding me? For what?
Yeah.
Well, I just think we need to clear. I'm like, I don't want to clear the air with you.
Yeah.
No. I helped you get this job and you stabbed me in the back. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. I have a grudge. Are you a grudge? I hold grudges.
I didn't have a grudge.
I know you're Christian-y and don't hold. I hold grudges. I'm like, grudges are good.
A book on religion, so I didn't usually have a grudge, but this was just so egregious. And you go, look, I can be the nicest person on earth, but if you I feel like it was just so disrespectful on what happened to me on the way out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if you didn't like me, you didn't have to try to destroy my,
I would agree. I one time Rupert Murdoch tried to pretend he fired me and Walt Mossberg, which I had emails that showing us wanting to stay. And I ran into him, and then we managed to do one of those conscious uncoupling press releases, even though we left. But he, I ran into him at a Vanity Fair Oscar party. And he's like, oh, we should have lunch. He mumbles when he talks. I'm not making fun of an Australian accent, but he really mumbles. And he also has a hearing problem. It was a loud party. And I went, he goes, we should have lunch. We should talk sometime. And I went like this. I go, I will never talk to you ever again because I cannot stand you. And he's like, great. I called my assistant. I'm like, I will not do that. I couldn't.
Good for you, Kara Swisher.
No.
Okay, so Kara, any advice for the folks? Because I know that you're very busy, and I'm gonna make sure that I've spoken to you about everything. We have
Signal
Trump denied.
Signal
Oh
gate.
yes, that's it.
Right.
So what the hell
What
are
the-
they
well,
thinking,
that's
and
it.
why
There you
is
go.
it not still in the news? Like, what is going on?
Well, that's because Trump floods the zone with all kinds of nonsense, whatever it happens to be. Every day there's a different story that he's using for distraction, including I'm running for a third term, whatever. It's it's very typical propaganda to do that, to confuse and upset people. And he knows that. I think he's good at it. But Signalgate is a really serious thing because two reasons. One, it's sloppy and they're using commercial apps, so therefore it's a highly hackable situation. The second thing is what they're really doing is trying to avoid accountability by using these apps because they're disappearing apps. And so there is something called the Federal Records Act. They're supposed to keep what they're doing. And that thing is the fact that they're doing it without a lack of safety means every foreign adversary has all this information, which makes us look like chumps. Them not doing it in a skiff, you don't know what phone they were on, you don't know what network they were on. I mean, let's just say China and Iran and Russia knew exactly what we were doing. Let's just assume they hacked it. And so, it's this, to me, the heart of it is they're avoiding accountability for what the things they're doing so that it disappears, except he set the disappearing app to 4 weeks, which is a long time. So we'll be able to go back and see. He probably had dozens of signal groups.
But do you think they're going to be transparent about who's going to hold them to account? Not this Justice
Oh,
Department.
Signal, they'll have to give up to the court. They'll have to give up those things. They'll have to. But the whole idea of it, of sneaking around when you're government officials and keeping things is just so heinous. And I'm like, are they incompetent or are they nefarious? Or are they nefariously incompetent or incompetently nefarious? Like it's both of those things at once.
Yeah. I was just sent this by my team. If we have it, it says Cramer and Burnett are back together again. And tonight on Outfront, Jim Cramer is going off about tariffs. And so someone I love, I love Erin Burnett. She's
great.
She's amazing. Do we want to play, because this is a clip from 2017.
Is he yelling? Is he yelling? I love when Jim Cramer yells.
This is old.
Where he doesn't
old.
yell.
I guess that was just a tease, but that's where Erin started.
Yeah.
She made her bones there. Are we playing this team or no? Because this is an old one, but still. Yes, no, maybe so. Nobody talking. No? Okay.
All right.
I thought it was new. Let me check that.
No, this is old. This is from this soundbite that they have up now, Peter, is from 2000 when Aaron actually worked there. And so basically he's just saying the same thing about tariffs.
Yeah.
And that they should this is from August of 2007. But anyway,
gotcha, sorry.
Aaron was just teasing that he's going to be on tonight.
Yeah, he'll yell.
So,
He'll yell.
Yeah.
He must be like he'll bang his bangers and stuff like that.
So anything will come out of Signalgate at all?
I don't know. I think there's a court case. Yeah. I mean, my feeling is, look, both the Republicans and Democrats have abused their ability to be secure by using inadequate phones and things like that. My ex-wife used to work for Obama, and she had this terrible BlackBerry she hated. She used to work for Google, but it was a secure phone. And so one of the things that's really important is I think we should say, all right, let's just assume you're all trustworthy, which you're not. Like, that's very clear. But let's say right now, everyone before this moment, we're going to forgive you for your trespasses, your security trespasses, whoever it happens to be. And everyone has a stack rank of Biden versus the Trump stuff, secure documents, everything else. Everyone from here before this, you're all forgiven. We're not going to prosecute. You're not going to use it. Going forward, if you abuse these security standards, you're going to jail. So everybody is crystal clear on what apps they can have on their phone, what they should use. And if you abuse it, you are going to jail, because these are security lapses. These are classified lapses. So everyone knows the rules of the road, right? These are the stop signs. These are the things you can't put on your phone. If you're found with these documents, you are done, right? And so I think that, to me, would be the best thing to do. And then bring in this is something where Musk and not Musk, he's not an expert in this area, but tech people could come in and say, here's the best, get the signal person, get this person. Let's build the best practices for the safest communications for our country, because we are a landscape of hacking. We have such a broad landscape and such a porous landscape. We should start to get I just did a big panel podcast about cybersecurity, and our country is in dire straits of our infrastructure, our electrical grids, our banking, all kinds of things that are really at risk if we don't lock this down.
How long do you think Waltz will last there? Because how do you end up in Jeffrey Goldberg's phone? One must be a source, I believe.
You did a little iPhone thing. That's what you did.
Yeah,
little
it's
iPhone.
a little
relation.
weird for me. That thing is weird. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
So,
I know. Yeah.
Do you think it was a source? I mean, you think? How do you think?
Of course, this guy's Jeff Goldberg is a very well-known national security, and he's written about national security. He's a really great reporter, and like all these people who say they don't talk to me, all talk to me. When I was covering who's talking to Kara? I'm like, all of you. At one point. And one of the things, some of it is, helpful. Like, what is happening here? Am I getting this wrong? And so people develop really good relationships because the reporters are trying to do a good job. And so it's so stupid. So what if Trump calls Maggie Haberman? One time he was screaming about Maggie Haberman. I don't know her. And literally I was at dinner with her. The phone rings and it's Trump.
Yeah.
Like, it's such nonsense. This is such nonsense. He loves talking to reporters.
He loves seeing his name in the paper, and he loves seeing.
He calls you, right? Every reporter I know talks to Trump. Like, that's
he
the thing.
used to, when I was in favor with him, when and once he became like the real it became obvious that he had a chance of winning, and so you really had to, I shouldn't say put the screws to him, but when you really had to hold him to account. Then he's like, oh, you're fake news and I can't talk to you. Before he said, oh my gosh, you're fair and I love talking to you. And he gave me like 6 or 8 interviews. And then after it became, sort of, are you a racist? That was what and he's like, no, I'm the least racist person, blah, blah, blah. And then it became, well, what about this specific policy? And you lied about this as it got closer to the election. He's like, you're fake news. I'm not going on there anymore.
I bet he'd call you in a second if he needed to. And anyway, it's in here how he was talking to him. I just don't even want to pretend that he wasn't. And so it's okay that he was in with Cheney, all those people, right? He was with all that gang. I think he's getting kicked out because he's not America first. Really, he's not a real, even though he's parroting, just like Marco Rubio is parroting America first. They're not America first people. And so it was interesting because apparently Lisa Loomer, who is like, two hammers short. Laura Loomer, went to the White House, and a couple national security officials got fired. So she's back in there with her crazy conspiracy theories, and who knows, in her weird relationship with Trump, that's such a strange situation. And I think a lot of those people, those MAGA conspiracy theorists are back in Trump's head. So yeah, I think he's screwed. I think he's probably screwed.
So, Kara, I would just say to you, not that you need it. I'm not saying that because look, you don't have on a stitch of makeup and you look fantastic. Don't ever get work like Laura Loomer or Kimberly Guilfoyle.
I'm headed to the plastic surgeon after this. Look what I'm looking. I'm literally dressed like a lesbian because I went to work out, and this is my mug.
Well, it's good because
queer lesbians who tech. See, see, like, come on, Again, Megyn Kelly finds this attractive, but you might not.
I love you.
All right.
Yeah, you're like, you don't love me.
I do. I love you. Don't make I do this with my wife too. She goes, I love you. I'm like, hi. Thanks.
I do that. I do that too.
Right. So congratulations on doing this. It was a big risk. You had a real rocky start because of the stupid Elon thing, which I knew that was going to happen because you actually did a real interview with him. And I hope, I don't know if you settled your case, but I hope you get all the money.
I'm still in litigation, but let me just say that interview was prescient because every single thing I talked about is now happening.
Sure. The drug use,
the DEI, everything, all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think one of the things that you did a great job there, and I know it's hard when you do entrepreneurial efforts, and it's really every day, it really depends on you. And I really congratulate you for doing it.
Thank you. I'm out here hustling, and
you're hustling. You're a good hustler.
You told me, the two people who I listen. you first, and I sort of model this on what you said, and I'm doing some of the other things that you talked about, right? And I'll tell you about that later. But also, I became friendly very early on with Ben Meiselas from
Oh yeah, Midas Touch. Yeah.
who gave me some advice, and he goes, in the beginning, you're gonna kill yourself. You're gonna be like, oh my God, this is not gonna work. Look, no one's watching. And then he said, it will start to happen. Just work hard and keep
but make great content. I always say that to people. Like whether it's Tesla or anything else, if you make a good car, people are gonna buy it. And the reason they're not buying your car is not because you're an asshole, it's because you're not making a car they want. Like ultimately, and the same thing with media content, make stuff the audience wants and be genuine, be the genuine Don. That's the whole thing. That's
well, there you go. Here I am sitting.
And here you are looking good. Anyway.
Okay,
thank
you.
Don't.
All right. Be well. Hope to see you soon. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right.
Bye, everyone. Kara Swisher. Amazing. Wasn't that an amazing conversation? I love talking to Kara, and she has been such a good friend. So let's get you to, what did someone said, let's get you to 1 million by what? By my birthday, which is May 20. Okay. Wait, put that up. There we go. Julie Simmons, you're on to something. Don, let's get you to 1 million by birthday. My birthday, March 20th. Can you guys do that? You got to call everybody and tell them to get on. You got to get on the Don Lemon tip. Let's leave that up for a while. So anyways, let's talk about some other things here just real quickly. Let's make sure that I have everything that I need to talk about in this particular thing that I want to show you before I leave you. I'm so happy that you guys are here. Oh, this is what I wanted to tell you. I wanted to show you guys. This is one thing from CNBC. And because, you know, when Kara said they don't want you to believe what you're seeing with your own eyes and hearing with your own ears, how often do I tell you that? I tell you that all the time. I said it this morning. And by the way, I did the morning live in a room that was sort of semi-public. They had people coming in working and staff members or whatever. And I was late. I was running around. Remember, I jumped on the subway because the traffic was bad. And I was trying to get to this Al Sharpton convention thing where I was doing a panel on media. And I was just like, I thought it felt like really jumbled and hodgepodge and in a rush. And when I finished, everyone was like, that was great. You were so succinct and you said the truth and it was amazing. I'm like, wait, what? So that is all because I love you guys and I am devoted to you and to making sure that you have great content and that you are aware, that I inform you. And remember what I said about what's happening out there. Don't believe this whole thing where JD Vance is like, oh, this is coming down. The price of this is down. This is way down. You guys know what's going on. And this is what the streets are saying. This is from CNBC. Watch this.
Kelly, so we're here in Teterboro, Costco on one side, a Walmart right behind me. We've been talking to a lot of people who in many cases are doing their weekly shopping. And the common refrain we've heard is that prices were already going up and they are worried they could go up even more and that the consumer is feeling very stressed. We heard from one woman who even said that the same basket of groceries that she regularly buys has now effectively doubled. Take a listen.
I feel like the prices are ridiculous now. It's to the point where it's going to be harder for people to shop because the prices are just insane. Literally, yes, because last week I like literally for the same amount of stuff that I bought, I literally paid like maybe $30-40 and now it's like $75 for like 3 bags of groceries. It's like completely insane.
How many of you can relate? And remember, gas is up too, right? Someone says that. I think it's Stacklin or something. Gas is up too. You're right. These prices have not come down. JD Vance, Tiny Pants, High Water, someone said in the chat. It's not come down. They have been lying to you about that. And all of, because of what we did in the eggs, it's bird flu. Bird flu is getting better. And so I'm sure the price of eggs are probably more available, easily available. So do not fall for the okie doke, and we'll always tell you the truth. So make sure, again, thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Also, if you become a member, it's very important for us to subscribe. Get me 1 million, get us 1 million by May 20th, I think she said. That would be fantastic. And also make sure you become a member because it keeps us able to be on the airwaves or stream waves or whatever. Don, let's get you to 1 million by my birthday, which is May 20th. Julie Simmons. Let's put it out there. Let's pray on that. Okay? The Lord works in mysterious ways with wonders to perform. Okay? So look, we're going to have our private stream now for the Lemon Legends. And a private stream for our members. Members who are at a certain tier get to go on this private stream, and we are going to chat it up. Chat it up. Who is in there saying the thing? You know, I can't say it, but that's what we're Planner Girl. I'm going to put Planner Girl up. Planner Girl Lifestyle, member for 2 months. You better be a member forever, Planner Girl. And she's got, you see, look at the screen. I can't say it because if I say it, the producers are going to knock me off the stream because they know those are my last words. Okay. So I will say to you, you guys know what I say every single time. Okay. And so we go to the members. We're going to the subscribers on TikTok and the members only chat on our YouTube. So if you want our full frontal show on YouTube, join us over here on the YouTube, and your comments will get highlighted if you become a member, and you will just get to see the full show, everything. You'll get to see Kara Swisher's face instead of just listening to her. Because I know a lot of you say, I watch you on Instagram. I'm like, you're not getting the whole thing. But they say, I don't know, we just love looking at your face. Okay, great. Good for you guys. I don't know why, but you do you. But I'd rather you come over on, you can follow us and watch us wherever you want, but I would prefer if you came over to see the full experience on YouTube and hit that subscribe and like button. Okay. So look, guys, I will see you in a little bit. For those of you who are at the right tier of membership, you can stay on. You'll be redirected. There'll be a link or whatever that's going to redirect you. And then I'll see you over there in a minute or two. Okay. So I'll see you back here tomorrow sometime at 10 a.m. and then 5 p.m. live. So I'll see you guys tomorrow for those of you who are not in that tier of membership. But if you want to come over and be on the stream, then you become a member. And I think you got to be a lemon legend and a lemon head to get to do there. Okay. So as I say always, when I leave, turn this TV off. Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your